welcome back to the Pastor's Chat. So it's been a little bit, but we are so glad to be back at it again.
Absolutely.
And you do notice that we have Pastor Peter with us. I think that you
Not
met
Pastor
him.
Peters.
Oh, Pastor.
That's my dad, Pastor Peter.
Yes. Is
right.
he? Oh, look, I have a question. Are
Yeah.
you going by Pastor Peter or Pastor Bogert?
Okay, let's do this. Kids can call me Pastor Bogert. The rest of you can call me Peter. Okay? That way, if you call me Pastor Peter, that might make Dave think that you're talking to him and he'll get whiplash from turning so often. So just call me Peter if you're an adult or high school, or the rest of you, Pastor Bogert's fine. Does that sound work? All right?
I think we got it.
Okay.
So we'll keep going.
We'll have
with that.
note cards available to determine what people should say.
That sounds wonderful.
Okay.
But you did meet him as he did read the scripture, I believe,
Two
Sundays
Sundays ago.
Yeah, but we brought him on. It would be fun to join the Pastor's Chat. Additionally, when Jacob Dearman is done being quarantined, he will join us as well. But we wanted to get to know him today. So I think a simple question is, could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I was born in northern New Jersey, grew up there, and right, yeah. It's interesting, Dave's paths and mine have crossed, but not that we knew each other. I was born to a policeman and his wife. My mom and dad are still alive in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we attended a church that wasn't Bible teaching, but my mom and dad came to know the Lord when I was in my later elementary years. I think I would put my own conversion in my high school years, and during the time of my senior year, I felt God's prompting to go into ministry, so I went to Northeastern Bible College, which was located up in northern New Jersey, and then I was a part-time associate for a church in northern Jersey, and spent 37 years almost at a church down in Abington. And my wife and I have been married since 1976, and I have 3 great kids, all adults, and 7 grandchildren. So I'm a Phillies fan, baseball fan generally, Phillies fan in particular.
And let's specify, the Phillies are the team of your life, but team of your youth.
My team of my youth was the Yankees.
Yes.
That's correct, okay? And I still have a little place in my heart for them. One of my claims to fame is that I cut Mel Stottlemyre's grass. Those of you who are Yankee fans will recognize that name. He was probably their ace pitcher in the 60s through the early 70s, back before you were born.
Yeah.
So I think many people will get to hear you on Sunday, but I think a great question as well. I mean, we'll tell you about, in a second, we'll talk about what your job description was, but I wanted to ask you what brought you to Calvary. I mean, we did reach out to you, but why did you feel like the Lord was calling you here?
Well, I had retired from my church in Abington in 2017, and I guess as I began to do different things, I wanted to go into a career in professional wrestling, but that never worked out. Okay, so I worked at Target, and
Next Pastor's Chat, we'll wrestle.
Okay, that sounds good, but not the fake college kind, the real professional thing with the ring and the ropes.
Absolutely.
And all that. Okay, good. So I worked for a couple of months at Target, and then I drove for some retirement communities for the last 2 years, and I began to have a sense that I wanted to do more at this part of my life than just driving. Not that that wasn't necessary, but I had started a blog focusing on younger pastors, and as the readership began to grow a little bit, and I began to develop more content for that, I began to have I really miss being in church ministry. And one day I was sitting in the guard hut up at one of the places that I worked, because we were in the middle of the COVID thing and we're checking people in and out. And I get an email from Dave saying, "We've got a position, we're interested in you." And it was like the skies broke, the birds sang, and it was a moment of incredible answer to prayer for me. It really was. And so through the process, I guess about 2 months went on, and we interviewed, talked with you, talked with the board. Dave and I had a 3-hour lunch and talked more by email, and God brought me here, and Laura, and we're both very excited to be a part of the church.
And I think it'd be helpful. We can talk a little briefly. The job is what is the job that we hired you for, right? So you are the pastor of Visitation.
He's the assistant pastor.
The assistant
pastor.
Thank you.
Technically,
That's my title.
assistant pastor.
The assistant pastor of Visitation. So
As opposed to the associate pastor.
Right.
And
Different term.
my wife will tell me I should just be quiet there because I have something else to say, and I won't.
Oh, and I know what it is. I wanted to be resident scholar, but they wouldn't let me do that. I am looking forward to getting to know the people of the church, and I'll be able to do that through visiting and counseling, and as we've talked, doing some things in terms of creation of some content for learning, teaching, and so this is my first week. I'm trying to get a feel for what's going on and where the church is, and so far it's been a great experience. I've enjoyed these 3 days enormously.
And we have too. So
Well,
make sure you give Pastor Bogert or Peter a
whichever.
call
Yeah.
and get to know him.
It's Peter at calvarybfc.org.
Yes.
Offers expire midnight, December 31st.
And if you get phone calls from him, this is who he is.
Yeah. And if you are in the list of seniors, I'll be calling you soon to introduce myself and just see how you're doing during this period of time.
We're also eager, I just kind of want to point out, for him to be kind of hanging around Calvary Kids, not like an adult that's lurking, but hanging around Calvary Kids as the parents are coming and going. Because Peter has a lot of background with Christian ed and with discipling and training young families. And so the opportunities that we have there to provide help for you as you're raising your children, he is a great resource. And so we want to make sure to take advantage of that.
And I think it's a wonderful thing to just let everyone know that right now it's an exciting time in the office, even though COVID is difficult. But right now we are blessed to know that we have Peter here working part-time, and Jacob has started now full-time with Youth Men, and Dave's in his role, and I'm in my role with the office here. It just is a blessing to know at this point that we have more staff here at Calvary to minister to our people and to shepherd our people to the gospel of Jesus Christ. So,
absolutely.
A couple things we're going to go through now. We'll talk about the coming forward, our second service, about when we're going to do that. Also, an update about Calvary Kids, and then we'll close with our sermon coming this Sunday. So, Dave.
Okay. Where did you say to start? With second service?
Yes.
Okay. So, as we have previously rolled out in the last congregational letter, just about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that we are going to go back to 2 services soon. At that point, we didn't know when soon was, just in the next few weeks. And so we have selected that date. Lord willing, if everything goes well with having the volunteers we need, we will have services at 9 and 10:45, same as we had previous to this. The 9 o'clock service will be with the same restrictions we currently have regarding masks and everything else. The 10:45 service will be similar, but when you're seated in your seat, you can remove the mask and breathe a little easier there, other than while you're singing. The Calvary Kids, once that begins, Calvary Kids will be during the second service. And I feel like there's something else. Oh, when it begins, September 20th.
Let's be
Sunday,
specific.
September 20th is when the 2 services begins. September 27th is when Calvary Kids regathers.
We are hopeful that we will begin on the 27th, praying that the staff will be fully staffed, as we do not want to start our programs understaffed, as that is not wise for our kids.
Yes.
So that's a big prayer request, to pray that as we continue to work towards regathering at this church, that not only would it be safe, but that we'd have the people there necessary to properly watch and love our children. So the 20th is our officially starting our 2 services. And then 27th, we are hopeful that that's when we'll start Calvary Kids.
Calvary Kids. And the 27th should be our first Sunday back to doing communion again.
Yes.
We will do it in a similar way as we did our outdoor night of praise when we had communion, where somebody from the family can go gather the elements and give it to your family that are seated there, and rather than having the ushers distribute it that way. But we are trying to bring things back as we can and do it very safely. And if you can help by volunteering, either with safety or ushering or welcoming or children's or music or tech, we need help in everything that we're doing. So.
Right. And like we say, we're here. We are followers of Jesus that help others follow Jesus, and we do that by up in and out. We worship Him up. We grow inwardly. We go out and proclaim it. But we're also saying that we want to serve, so we serve each other. And so we want to encourage our people, find where the Lord has gifted you and get involved here at Calvary. So with that too, we are.
Can I say one more thing about the 27th when Calvary Kids regathers? Is that right around that time we're looking at the building project going on. We're not sure exactly when we're going to be out of the sanctuary. That's still up to lawyers and contractors and architects and all of that stuff.
Right.
But it's right around that same time, end of September, give or take. And so at that point, we will be meeting in the sanctuary, in the fellowship hall for our worship services, right? And on the 27th is when we are going to launch a new sermon series from the book of Daniel that we're calling Uncommon. And so we're looking forward to that happening. And Tim is going to preach one of those sermons, and Peter's going to preach one or two of those sermons. And so I'm really excited to hear from you guys as well through all of that.
Yeah, and
Privilege.
Yeah. Well, we want to. Here we come. Coming this Sunday, we are now in the book of Esther.
We are finishing out our Rebuild series, and this week we are rebuilding life. We're looking at a person who was an orphan, adopted by her cousin, raised by her cousin, and then ripped out of her home. It was that century's version of human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was. This is gut-wrenching, really, what happened to her. How is life rebuilt? And just seeing that she experienced God's favor, God's blessing, even in the midst of tragedy that was going on in her life. And so just kind of encouraging us that as we go through difficult times, God is there with us, but also encouraging us that since God cares for the vulnerable, ought we not, as followers of Jesus, to care for the vulnerable as well?
So join us this Sunday here at Calvary, or you can also join us online wherever you are most comfortable for Rebuild Life. And we always encourage you to read ahead.
Esther 1 and 2.
Esther 1 and 2. So thank you, everyone.
Nice
Thanks,
to see you.
See you later.